How's it going, everyone? Today I want to show you how I build a pretty profitable SaaS with low coding experience and how I did it on a budget. Everybody is talking about the SaaS model. What is a software as a service? But a lot of times you're not sure, okay, how do I go about this? Do I need to know how to code? Is it worth it for me to build? You know, when you're looking at other models like dropshipping, Shopify, which are all great models, right? So if you don't have much coding experience, but you want to build a SaaS, but maybe you're on a budget, you don't have enough money saved, I'm going to show you how you can build on a budget, the things you're going to need, how much money you might need to get started, and all of these different aspects. We're going to dive into this video in as much as detail as possible. And I'm literally talking about exactly what I did with my own SaaS Nexa and how I built it, all the different problems that I'm going to find throughout the way. So one, it's pretty obvious. If you're watching this video, you like SaaS because it's one, software, meaning it's a scalable model, and it's repeat revenue because it's on a subscription basis. So clearly, if the solution you're solving is correct, then you'll have low minimal overhead. It'll be profitable. You can really take it seriously and raise funding with it, hire a team, and turn it into a real business instead of a side hustle, right? So first things first, I want to get something out of the way. A lot of people talk about these no-code tools, and if you have completely no idea of how to code, then sure, it's helpful. But if I'm going to be honest with you, like, I'm not going to, I don't want to bullshit. You have to, it's good to understand some technical abilities. You don't have to be a software engineer, but you need to know what you're doing. And you rather have coders, people that can actually physically code, if you want to slowly get better into the project. So if you're going to start off and create something, yeah, sure. There's 4 solid tools: Bubble, Glide, Adalo, and OutSystems. These 4 tools are really good if you have no coding experience, and they're great to get your idea to life. Another one I'll add is if you're not sure how your front-facing tool of your SaaS will look, is a tool called Figma. It's good for the UI UX side of just getting a visual understanding of how you want your app to look. So maybe in the future you can help build it with these no-code platforms, or actually a partner or developer can turn that into life. Now, the biggest thing is, before you jump into building, you want to plan. The biggest thing people get out of mistake is, what am I building? I want to build something quickly, get the ball rolling and doing all of that. But start with this. Have you experienced the problem, right? Have you experienced the problem? Is it real? If you can build a SaaS based off of that, you already won half the race, because you actually were able to experience the problem. You'll have so much more understanding of it and just easily be able to turn that vision into reality. And don't rush into building. Validate your idea first. If something you feel like, okay, I can build a SaaS for this, I want you to ask 10 to 20 people within that month or week and see what they're saying. Be like, hey, if I built this, that seems to have a problem for this. If it's B2B or B2C, would you use this, right? Take that back, right? Get that understanding before you build it. And don't go full heads on in building your full program without making sure you got feedback and you're getting real-time users in between that. And the best way to do that is, everybody probably heard this term, an MVP. This is a minimum viable product. If you can build a SaaS that's minimum viable product edition and have that good feedback loop coming in, then you can get the green light to go in and all in, or potentially raise and then do it the right way with the team. Now, when you're building an MVP, all you want to do is keep the features basic, and you can use these no-code tools. And here's what I did. So as we were building our platform called Nexa, which is a career services system, we simply thought, okay, I had no money, right? I'm low on budget. I had something saved. So instead of using a no-code platform, because like I said, me personally, I think it's better, if you're going to build a SaaS, do it right. First of all, you might want to have a team with you, right? Or find like a partner or yourself. And if you can work with a developer, if you don't have the money, consider turning this into a serious thing. If it works and there's feedback and everything, people are responding well, now it's time to build. Maybe give out some equity, right? Say, hey, it'll be a good partnership. You got to be resourceful with what you don't have. And I would plan on using, in honest term, like the whole point of this video would be, start with building using offshore teams. I was able to reduce hundreds of thousands of dollars in developer cost because I used offshore teams who I vetted, and I realized, and I basically made sure that, okay, these guys are good, and I can integrate them into my workflow, explain them my vision, and keep following along daily and make until the task is done. It was about 90% cost reduction. There's certain things, and the reason for this is no code apps have limitations. They're not creative, like they can't do certain things. There's no human engagement. It's much more challenging in the beginning. I think they're good for maybe building out a framework idea, and then you're gonna have to pretty much hit up something like this. Now, you don't need to know coding for this, right? You just need to find the right team or the right, essentially offshore consulting, and go ahead and start that project. But that's what I said, before you dive into all of this, I wanna clarify, make sure you experience the problem, you figured out there's a big enough target audience for it, and you got feedback, and you start off with the MVP first before wasting more time into features and stuff that are just uses that people won't use. So once again, let's repeat, guys, make sure you run into the problem before, and if you didn't, whatever, do your research and still ask people if this problem is something that they would pay using your solution, to get it resolved. Perfect. That's like the base of the thing. I'm going to keep repeating that because I want it to be ingrained in your head. Make sure you experience the problem. You ask users, would you pay if I could solve this problem for you using this X, Y, or Z, whatever the case may be, right? And then hit up the individuals and attack that MVP and present it. Because if this gets serious, and I hope the goal is not to be a side hustle, is you want to probably raise a seed round, right? Maybe you can raise $500,000 to $2 million and take this seriously, boost it, sales, market. Then you'll be able to truly scale your product, right? And get an exit of millions of dollars. I'm assuming that's why you guys are here to watch this video. You guys want to make money. That's why I built my product. I think that it's valuable. And I feel like a larger company will see value in it. And that's exactly what I did. If you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to link in my personal group or consulting group. There are a few of them that I feel like are really good. So if you guys want to start, you can obviously reach out to them, but knowing that you did the research. Before I move on to the next, I want to talk about one thing. When it comes to your target audience, if you truly want to see success, obviously have a niche and make sure that you truly understand who is your total addressable market and who you are selling this product to. But make sure that it's broad enough that the actual industry or the sector is at minimum $1 billion industry per year. And if this is not the case, investors don't really like to hit industries that are that small. Two reasons. If you're solving a product where you're the first for the solution, that means it could be a challenge. You're creating a market for it. It sounds good, but it's also looking hard. Now, if you solve a product where there's already competitors in there, technically that's a good thing because that shows this is actually a problem that people want to pay. They're paying to solve. It's good. You just don't want to make sure that it's way too many competitors in the space, because then it looks like, okay, it's a good problem, we got that, but now it looks like too many people are trying to solve it. How are you going to have to spend more time differentiating yourself, right? So the best way to budget your SaaS, I would say, is, once again, offload your contracting fees to offshore consulting, coding, development, essentially teams. And there's a few certain good places, right? Europe is really good. When I say Europe, I don't mean like Italy, Milan. I'm talking about places like, Slavia, Czechoslovakia. They have great development teams there, as well as Pakistan, India, and there's a few other teams on, the far eastern side of the globe that are very affordable. And like I said, in the video, I'll link one of my personal, favorite teams that I used in the beginning, and they're super cool, super professional, and they can easily help you 90% of the cost. You don't know how to code for this. You simply just have to come with a plan of action, understand what your target audience is, the problem you're trying to solve, and have received feedback that people would use this, or to an extent that people are commented, that gave you feedback that yes, they would use this solution as a resolution to the problem that they're having. Now, once you get all those in plan, you're pretty much set. Then what happens is you're going to pay in probably a very low amount, and you'll get an MVP out. And once you get that MVP out, now it really comes to the matter of, okay, how many people can you get to use it? And another quick advice is, obviously you're probably thinking, well, I want to make money off of it. In the beginning, you're going to want to get people to use it, give them your feedback, and see how much they're willing to pay for the solution. But I would say reverse engineer it. So you want to start with profit margin and markup. And this is the biggest mistake that I made, is I didn't truly understand profit margin and markup in the beginning until now. When it comes to actually getting your MVP out and seeing who wants to use it and what price they'll pay for it, first ask yourself, what margin do you want on it? I think for SaaS, what's super cool and worth it for investors, if you want to invest in hyperscale and just make a lot of money off of it and still provide a lot of value, I think 65 to 75, 80% is a great profit margin. Right? So you're going to ask yourself, well, how do I get there? Well, first you're going to ask yourself, okay, you made this MVP and you talked about the cost for, you saved a lot of development costs, but there's still going to be probably fixed COGS, right? Cost of goods sold, aka your infrastructure costs. Depending on if your SaaS has other tools and expansions, such as, let's say you're adding AI to it, that'll be additional to your infrastructure cost. So AWS is very, very affordable. There's other cloud platforms that are affordable. Here's the awesome trick though, when you're on a budget that nobody talks about. There's so many free credits you can get from these cloud platforms and hosting platforms. There's point of contacts from third-party developers as well. So aside from paying a developer, if you don't even have money for that, for an offshore team, you can work with cloud providers like Amazon, and they can essentially plug in their third-party consultants and development teams. They have third-party teams who will then make a proof of concept case for you, and you can get a certain amount of funding. Obviously, it's only allocated to like a micro project, and it will be deployed on that platform. So in this case, if it's Amazon, it'll be on Amazon, but you don't pay it all out of your pocket. But then again, that's hard to do, but at bare minimum, there are so many programs that offer credits, right? So if you're gonna take this seriously, I would say take it like you're building a SaaS startup, right? And look for credits and look for all these things. Then you just save on hosting fees. But now back to the pricing part. Let's say you still got your hosting fees covered, but you want to understand what you want to do. What you're going to do is, let's say on average, you built the SaaS, you built this MVP, based on your hosting fees right now, you're paying, let's say $100 a month to run the application for, let's say, an X amount of users. Let's say 500 users at peak usage is going to cost you $100 a month. What you're going to do from that is now, you're going to say, okay, I want, in the simplicity, a 75% margin. It costs me $100 per month, number, for an example, to run the operational backend cost for a customer using my tool. So at bare minimum, if it costs me like $100 a month, and this is for 500 users, you divide that number, you get a cost per user, right? So let's say the cost per user is like 0.5 cents. Okay, cost is like 5 cents a user. Well, in order for you to be 70% margin, then you could just plug in your numbers, right? But once again, if you charge 10 cents, that doesn't mean you're 100% margin. That means you're 100% markup, but 50% margin. So you got to put in the formula and charge what you want. So, 10, 15, 20-ish cents to get to around that 70% margin. I'm literally going off of my head. I can obviously do the calculation. You can do the exact calculation how you want. That will be perfect for you and investors, because now you truly said, hey, I looked at my operational cost it takes me to run this for a user going on my website using the service. Cost them 5 cents per month. I'm charging an X amount of cost, and that gives me a 75% margin. Amazing. You have all the things now checked in that I wish I would have did before starting my SaaS. Now, when you go into the MVP and you're going out there, and because you got some feedback, you hit those individuals back up again, or businesses, you continue to expand, you're doing outreach, right? This is where it gets really hard and tough, where you face the rejections and all these things start happening. That is your time now to continue to get that feedback and iterate, get that feedback and iterate, get that feedback and iterate. But once again, I'm not going to dive deep into all the aspects. I wanted to dive into the budgeting aspect. So to summarize, once again, if you have no coding experience and you want to build an app, you can start with these no-code tools, which sometimes may not always be free, but you're going to need some sort of budget. Like I said, this video was if you're on a budget, not if you have $0. If you're going to build this business, you're going to need some skin in the game. So on average, what I'm going to say is, to build your MVP, you need to set aside $3,000 to $6,000, and you'll build a pretty decent MVP with that using the offshore teams that we mentioned. For your hosting, meaning you're going to create a SaaS app and need to sit on a provider. I'm assuming you're not sitting and having a server in the back of your room, which is very not scalable at all, right? So, dude, cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, Google, there's so many, DigitalOcean, Superbase, whatever. I gave an example of AWS, and you can get credits, right? AWSstartups.com literally will give you credits for hosting up to $1,000 to $80,000 in credits. If you join other programs like accelerators, you can get more. Hosting fees covered, MVP, you got it much cheaper. By doing it locally here in North America would be probably $50,000. So boom, problem solved there. Now from there, that should cover your budgeting aspect to get the ball rolling. From there, it's going to take your grit, your persistence, your understanding of who your target consumer is, how you market, how you sell, and we obviously can make a lot more videos down the road. Now, if you're wondering what is my resource, one of the resources that I use is NextPack Consulting. Simply send me a comment and I can have them refer you for even a cheaper discount, maybe, who knows. But I use them because they listen really well, they're understanding, they're very, very punctual, and they're super helpful. And lastly, they're super intelligent. So all of my ideas come to life. You put all those factors together and you'll be well on your way to starting a successful SaaS. Guys, if this was helpful, please follow for more, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, comment what you don't understand and what you want to see next so I can break it down, our team can take a look at it and present you with more videos. I'll catch you in the next one.